Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Put On Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. A quick reaction game to the Raiders' 24-19 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. A lot to unpack in this quick reaction before we get a chance to look at the All-22. But I think that I'll just start off with this in saying that when you're playing with him at quarterback, sometimes it's almost like you're playing two quarters of football offensively. It's like and a lot of these first quarters, we get the hyperventilation where we don't get anything. We get missed throws. We get inaccurateness. I mean, the touchdown pass to Waller is just like, if you put it, he's 6'6", built like a freak of nature, and you got to hit him right in the chest. And if he drops it, then it's on Waller. But as a quarterback, you got to set your feet and make that throw. As much as we like the Raiders, we call it like it is. This was one of the most memorably horrible quarterback games I've ever seen in the history of the Raiders, whether it's Los Angeles, Oakland. This was some Mark Wilson shit. Like, it was bad. It's just that simple. It's really that bad. Like, underthrows receiver, forcing the ball. He got lucky on one tip at the line of scrimmage because he was forcing the ball into double coverage to Davante Adams, where I think that could have been a pick. When we were texting, I literally said, get Waller involved because Asante Samuel is you keep testing him, he's gonna pick one off. And of course, pick one off. So a lot to these shows are a little bit shorter, the quick reaction shows. So I'll let you go ahead and say what you got to say.
Well, you didn't drop a Billy Joe Hobart reference, so I don't know how bad it could have been. I don't know if it's one of the worst games I've seen from a quarterback from the Raiders. I'd say in Derek Carr in the last probably, since 2016, 2017, this is probably one of his worst games. As far as just, he didn't look comfortable. He didn't look like he was thinking too much in the pocket, like trying to figure out what the route combinations were rather than just, playing loose and letting it rip. You could see there was a lot of things going through his head. When the pressure got around him, he didn't move at all. He was a statue today. And you saw Justin Herbert, whenever the Raiders got around him, he was able to get outside the pocket and make plays. Derek Carr never ran for yardage here. He had several opportunities where he could have stepped up. And, yeah, the pressure was on him, but we knew the offensive line wasn't going to be very good. So it's too easy just to say, oh, the offensive line sucked. And to me, I think the takeaway from this game, besides Carr, we can set him aside, what are they doing on the offensive line? They had OTAs. They had training camp. They knew the offensive line was a major problem coming into the season. And we're running in 4 different combinations of offensive linemen. We have rookies who missed the last 3 weeks of camp and at the end of the game playing right tackle against Bosa and Mack. I don't know what the Raiders were doing on the offensive line. I have a lot of questions. This roster is built to win now. You go out and you get Chandler Jones. You pay Max Crosby. You have Derek Carr, who's in his 9th year. He's not a first or second year player. You get Davante Adams, and you run out one of the 3 or 4 worst offensive lines in the league. And on top of that, you shuffle in the backups on the worst 3 and 4 offensive lines in the league, and they went about how you'd think it would go the minute they fell behind because they couldn't run the ball. And they didn't try to run the ball. I heard a lot of people on Twitter early in the first half being like, well, they can't run the ball. They ran the ball 6 times in like the first half. They weren't trying to run the ball. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the route combinations looked like down the field. There were several times where Derek Carr, who got sacked 5 times, held the ball for 4, 5, 6 seconds before he got sacked. There was a couple that were on the offensive line, but a couple of those sacks are on him too. He's got to understand he's got to get rid of the ball quicker, especially with the pass rush the Chargers are bringing. He looked confused. I don't know what Staley did on the back end, but the combination of not getting live reps against competition in the preseason, the rotating offensive line, he forced the ball to Adams over and over and over again in 17 targets. The next highest had 6. And on top of that, trying to figure out the route combinations and what they were doing defensively, I think there was a lot of miscommunication that we'll see that'll get cleaned up. It's week one. This is a week-to-week league. The Raiders could come out next week and win, and we're right back on the bandwagon. But for having the whole offseason to get ready for this game, that's about as poorly as they could have played. Because that game could have easily got out of hand. We're lucky the score was 24-19.
I mean, yeah, I would say so, and I think they got gifted some of those run pass drives by the Chargers in this game as well too, which I was surprised that they were even doing that. But I mean, that's Lombardi, and his head coach wants him to play that way. And people were tweeting at me, Patrick Graham sucks, all that stuff like that. Now, I will say this about the Raiders defense: I prefer when you have somebody backed up. I like to go after them when they're backed up, rather than when you're waiting till they're when you're wait till attacking them till when they're in your red zone or in the red zone area or pre-red zone. That's when it seems like that's when people like to attack or blitz. I understand Chandler Jones. I understand Max Crosby. They're going to have games where they eat in the backfield, but you have an athlete. You have some athletes like Leatherwood. I mean, not Leatherwood. Diablo. You have some guys who can help on blitzes like Abram. Like, I mean, I got to see some of that. But at the end of it, they went on the road against one of the best quarterbacks in the league and gave up 24 points and had numerous second half stops to give you opportunities to come back in this game. So for those who are looking to blame the defense, please take that blame somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think you have to tip your hat to Herbert, the touchdown he threw right before the half following Carr's first interception. That could have easily been a touchdown the other way had he not underthrown the ball to Waller. That was a great throw. That was a seed. He threw it on line against cover two, and then the throw that he made against Teamer up the sideline to Gerald Everett on third down, like, you got to tip your hat. That's a great back shoulder throw. Like, they put it in the one spot you could, and Justin Herbert made the throws that he needed to make. He got out of escape pressure when he needed to escape it. And then the concerning thing defensively is I thought, at least in the first, 2.5 quarters, the Raiders did a really good job of taking away the deep stuff, but the Chargers don't want to throw the deep stuff. They want to throw the stuff in the flats. They want the underneath ball. And there was guys wide open within 5 to 10 yards of line of scrimmage over and over and over again. And the Raiders didn't really adjust to that. And like you mentioned, I think the Chargers kind of took their foot off the gas 24-10. And then just started trying to run the clock, and that's what kind of kept the Raiders in this. And then they missed a field goal, and then the Raiders defense did what they could at the end, and then Carr ended up throwing 2 interceptions right after they got him the ball back, and he put together a nice drive to get it within 24-19, and then we saw what happened there at the end with back-to-back sacks. I get the experiment on the offensive line, but you can't have Thayer Munford out there on the last drive of the game when Illuminor is healthy and he was holding up okay. And Illuminor is not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but in that situation, in that moment, I don't know why the rookie's out there.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, Carr had 5 turnovers today. So, you can't have 5 turnovers.
And he fumbled twice again. I know that we didn't lose any of them, but he can't keep putting the ball on the ground.
No, to me, those are lost because you lost an opportunity to make a first down, so you lost those plays. And third, I mean, they rushed 3. Where was the screen game at? I was waiting for like a wide receiver screen where maybe Renfro. Renfro has I'm not positive, but I think he fumbled the ball 5 times last year, and then he fumbled again today. Didn't he? I mean, I think Callahan. I know Callahan's a good slot corner, but he was in his pocket today. Who knows? He was in his pocket because he might not have been in his pocket. We gotta wait till we see the all 22 as far as that goes. But and if you react to any play action from the Chargers, you have to be an idiot because they had 14 carries for 36 yards for Eckler. Joshua Kelly had
they averaged 2.5 yards a carry.
I mean, you can't. I mean, that's nothing. Like, why would if you're a linebacker on that team, you're playing the Chargers, why would you react to play action? Like they're doing trust your defensive line to make the play. They're not a team that's dedicated to the run at all. I mean, they're passing all the time, and they're passing within 5 to 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, there was a couple of play calls there. Obviously, it's easy to second guess, but I don't think McDaniels had his best game either. And I'm going to question the 3rd and 2 handoff to Bolden in the first half. And then what was the double reverse where Derek Carr was trying to block Joey Bosa with Adams coming around. Like, I know they said on the broadcast that Renfro was running a route that could have been open, but I mean, you have the momentum, you're driving, you're within 2 scores, and I think that was around the 20 or 25-yard line. Like, you're moving it pretty well, and then all of a sudden he called that play, and it wasn't even close to working.
Yeah.
That thing got blown up immediately, and then I don't know where Adams was supposed to go. At that point, he goes down, you lose 15, and basically you get a 55-yard field goal out of that drive. But for all the negative, I will say I thought Josh Jacobs played really well. He ran
He played
hard.
great.
I thought Nate Hobbs played really well. I'm really excited to see Nate Hobbs. I think Rocky Sin was up and down. I think Abram, we saw kind of what we'd expect to see out of Abram. I didn't see a ton out of the pass rush between Jones and Crosby. That would concern me. But again, the Chargers were getting the ball out in like 2.5 seconds. Trying to throw that stuff over the middle. I didn't see a lot of impactful plays at the second level by the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously having Merrick went out with an injury, so we didn't see a lot of Merrick there in the second half. But
that was
the Raiders' depth was tested, and a lot of guys got banged up in this game.
Yep, and that was one of the guys who there were some safeties out there who were available, and I said, you know what, if 25 goes down, you're going to be stuck with like people like, I mean, Teamer wasn't terrible at all. I mean, the play to Everett was just a great play. I mean, you can't do anything about that. The only thing he could have done was maybe, knocked him out of bounds or something like that. But it was a great throw and a great effort by Everett to kind of do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like so I'm trying to like look at it on the other side of it too. Like, some of these teams sometimes get off to bad starts, whatever, but it's hard when it's a division opponent. These games really count. You had some,
they count as 2 basically.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And now like if they have an opportunity to sweep you. Like you can never sweep them. You can't get this game back. So it's gonna be they had an opportunity to score on the first drive of the game. They don't do it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand a lot of the play calling I saw, and I think I'll probably understand more of the play calling when I see the all 22. But I think the thing I don't really understand was what Carr was looking at. Like I don't understand what was the and why wouldn't you, if you have 2 guys blazing off of the edge, to step up in the pocket? Like they weren't getting pressure up the middle. The pressure was coming from the sides. So one step up in the pocket will get you all the time in the world to make a play. So just a bad job all around by the Raiders and by the quarterback Derek Carr.
Yeah, I mean, to get into the top 10 conversation, which he has a chance to be at the end of this year, like he did not start very well today. And there was numerous third downs. The 4th down at the end of the game, he had time. Yeah, those are going to go down as sacks. But once you get to 4 or 5 seconds, like it's on the quarterback at that point. Like you can't ask the offensive line to do 10 more than that. And he just, I think again, it was just confusion. I don't think he was on the same page as some of the wide receivers based on the defensive looks, because we've seen the playbook and we know that a lot of the routes are based on coverages. And if they're showing too high and then they rotate to 1 high, or they're 1 high and they rotate to 2, it throws off everyone's routes. And I think clearly, he was really comfortable going to Adams, and Adams had a great game in his debut as a Raider, but they leaned on it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but he should have been. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think too, like the other thing that was kind of concerning is the field position. Like until the end of the game when the Raiders got the ball, I think on the 41 was their best. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the same things, like get a stop, get the ball at the 15, get the ball at the 2, get the ball at the 20. You're not seeing the defense create turnovers or the Raiders get it in the plus territory. You're not seeing big punt returns. And that kicker did a great job. The punter, Scott, for the Chargers, but he's getting like 5.5, 6 seconds hang time, and he was booming the ball like 55, 60 yards. So
yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see. I thought Renfro was going to have a big day. Like Renfro didn't do anything today, really. He got bottled up a little bit, and it looked like they wanted to use Adams in the middle of the field on a lot of those choice routes and stuff underneath. And that kind of leaves, if you're going to have Adams come inside and do that, like where's Renfro going to operate? Like there's really nowhere for him to go. And he's not going to win outside one-on-one down the field. And then, obviously the timing was off a little bit with Waller there. Waller's missed a lot of time in camp with the hamstring injury, but it's week 1. They're 0-1. We're going to rebound. And, I'm going to pick them next week probably to win at home against the Cardinals. But the concerning thing, like you said, is it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
The Chargers pretty much did whatever they wanted to do for about 3 quarters in this game, and then you look at some of the box scores. The Chiefs damn near put up half 100 on the Cardinals today. So Patrick Mahomes wasn't slowed down at all, not having Tyreek Hill out there.
Yeah, no. I mean, they know. I mean, they just know he knows how to. He's gonna make, and even little things like, okay, you had the Bengals lose, so that's a potential playoff team. But I still don't see Pittsburgh winning more than 8 games, but we'll see what happens there. But the tie between
That's a killer.
that's a killer. Like, you want somebody to win that game. That's a killer. And as far as that goes, because if you tie with them, I don't know if it's any more AFC games. You had the Giants come through and beat Tennessee. Like, that was huge. Cleveland came back. Cleveland won that game. So, and every game Cleveland wins, who possibly could be coming around the corner to play for them. So if he does come back and play well at the end, if they're like in the playoff hunt, I mean, and he comes back and plays as well, then you're going to be in trouble. So
the Dolphins played really well today too. I watched most of that game.
Yes, the Dolphins play well. So another AFC team as well. So it's not just the alert of. So it would have been better if they did it in reverse. Like, if they win next week against the Cardinals, great. But like, it'd have been nice if they flip the win loss, because the game against the Chargers meant so much more than the loss a loss to an NFC team. So
I think this week you're going to see some veterans come in. They may sign a guy or two, Monday or Tuesday, get them on the practice field Wednesday on the practice squad, get a couple weeks under them. But they have to figure out the offensive line before. This can't be rotate 7 or 8 guys for the first 4 games of the season. Like, you had all off season to figure that out. I know they like the rookies and they want to play him, but Munford missed time. He was a 7th round pick. He missed time at camp. Leave Illuminor out there until he proves that he can't stay out there. But to constantly run these guys in and out and be in different situations, and then with Lester Cotton and Parham, if you like Parham, you took him to 3rd round, play Parham. You don't need to run Cotton out there for half the game. So let these guys develop. But they need to win. They need to win this year. This isn't like, hey, let's get our system in place. Let's develop some rookies. 5 of the 7 or 8 guys they drafted didn't even play. They didn't even draft. So, like, this is a veteran team. I want to say they're one of the 3 or 4 oldest teams in the league. You can't throw this season down the drain because you want to develop a couple of offensive linemen. You should have gone out and signed some veterans.
Yeah. Is Darrell Williams still available? Like, I mean, it's we've been talking about the same situation. And I think also too, they could have you on some of those third and longs or third down plays. I mean, Ndamukong Suh is not a run stopper, but he's good at getting pass rush up the middle. I mean, he's what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that wouldn't have added a little bit more pressure in this game. Like, what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that
what were the 2 main the 3 biggest issues we had going into the season: the offensive line, the interior defensive line, and the cornerbacks after they got rid of Phillips and Mullen. And what were the 3 things that showed up today? Those were the 3 things that showed up today, in addition to Derek Carr having some questionable decisions in the pocket. But, I know we're not in the front office. We don't work for an NFL team, but like, some of this stuff's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it's just common sense. It's just common sense. Shout out to every time the Raiders defense made a play. I'm not sure who that black coach was, but they kept on showing him as if he was Patrick Graham. At least Kevin Harlan was smart enough to know that wasn't Patrick Graham, so he didn't say it was Patrick Graham. But they keep showing him. I'm like, why do they keep showing this? Showing the linebacker coach or whoever that coach was, and it's not Patrick Graham. So I'm not sure what they were doing with that. It's tough, man. It was tough. It was tough game to watch, because I mean, and then they had so many opportunities in the second half, and I thought even the math was like, especially when you got the false start, the penalty, kick the field goal, so you get the 20 points,
extra point, yeah.
I'm sorry, extra point, so you get to 20 points, and then even if they score a field goal on
still
their,
7, yeah.
It's still 7. Like, I mean, you made it into have to be a touchdown game where or excuse me, into a touchdown game with a 2-point conversion. So I don't know.
The good thing is it's a 17-game season, but the Raiders are backing themselves into a corner, because the first 6 games on the schedule are not easy. Like, they're going to have to pick up a game now somewhere else, and And I think, next week's going to be a key game. They can't go home and lose the home opener, because then you have at Tennessee coming up, which now looks like a more winnable game after they lost to the Giants. But that showdown, you have Denver and Kansas City weeks 4 and 5. Those are now must-win games. Those are games they got to win at this point.
Yeah,
you can't even if you split those, you're 1 and 2 in the division with 3 division games left. You're going to have to win all 3 of them to get to 4 and 2. You don't want to finish 2 and 4 or 3 and 3 in the division, because now you're going to start losing a bunch of tiebreakers.
Nope.
But we're way ahead of ourselves. Before we can start talking about the playoffs, they need to win 8, 9, 10 games.
Yes.
And right now, this team today did not play like a playoff team.
No, they did not. They did not, and the quarterback did not play well enough, like a playoff quarterback at all. So, that's it. So, I don't get anything else. We're kind of keep it short before we get all the information. Information being all 22 stuff like that. But Raiders lose 24-19. Just a bad performance all the way around. I thought the guys who really showed up today, Hobbs, especially in the critical moment, they really couldn't. And the Raiders secondary, like, they really couldn't get the ball to Michael Williams at all today. Did he play at all? Did he have 1 catch today?
I have it right here.
2 catches.
Mike
2
Williams,
catches. Yeah,
2
2
for
catches.
10.
2 for 10. I mean, really.
They didn't really cover Keenan Allen in the first half before he got hurt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean,
and DeAndre Carter, ex-Raider DeAndre Carter. He was on the Raiders for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. What's going on with that one. And do you think that is Brandon Bolden? I kind of want to see the snap count. He played a lot.
Yeah, it looks like he got 3 carries. He caught the touchdown. He got 2 receptions out of the backfield. I thought he looked slow. I thought the 3rd and 2, there was a hold there for a minute. He just kind of hesitated. When he did run the ball, you didn't see any burst. Like, who didn't play today? Zamir White didn't get a carry. I don't think he got on the field.
Was he dressed?
He may have been on the active list. I know Brown was. I don't know if he was inactive. I think he was one of the rookies that was up and dressed, but I could be wrong. So if anyone in the comments knows, let me know. But I didn't see Zamir White on the field at all.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, I don't know. It's I know you want your guys, but if Brandon Bolden's going to be in there for pass protection, I'm good with it. But like as a playmaker,
and where's Abdullah? We heard about this playmaker that was burning everyone in camp.
This
and
James White, James White too. I didn't see anything about James White in this one, not at all. So it's what it is.
Target down the sideline. That could have been a pass interference, but I mean, he was never open. And, the one thing I did notice about Derek Carr is I thought the mechanics were a little off today. Like, to me, just watching, it seemed like everything was just upper body, just trying to arm strength stuff in there. A lot of balls floated. He didn't seem really get his lower half involved and really drive the football. The interception down the sideline to Adams was an underthrow. The interception to Waller was an underthrow. And he missed behind guys repeatedly. So I don't know what's going on with his lower half. Maybe there was pressure on him. He couldn't step up on some of those throws, but it just seemed like it was something that kept happening over and over again.
Yeah, I think the killer was the INT before the half. I mean, that was just the killer, and you knew that was going to be seven
Especially
points.
if the defense made the stop on 4th down.
Yeah, you can't do that. And I think I just feel like, and maybe there were a lot of easy throws that we didn't see. But I just feel like, I feel like that screen game that they're so notorious for, I just didn't see it. And maybe they were in defense, but there were times where they rushed only 3. So that was those be good times to get those linemen down the field and get a running back like Josh Jacobs or Abdullah behind those big bodies to make some plays on the field. So, all right, 0-1.
Hopefully we see it next week.
0-1. 0-1.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I think next week is going to be a really close game, but we'll see what happens. Because defending him, that low quarterback, I got to see it first. I got to see him actually do that, because those guys are always notoriously kill the Raiders. The quarterbacks.
I'll be there next week, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully you're riding home with a victory at 1-1. All right, peace, Raider Nation.
All right, take care.